Welcome to the 16th day of December 2021. This is the Good Life Meditation, my daily reminder of what's important to me in life and a reflection on yesterday and a forecast of today. Yesterday was a good day. I told you that I had at work two, mainly one. What's that sound? That was a weird sound. It sounded like a big tire just deflated somewhere. This house is just full of surprises. Anyway, I had some meetings that I was anxious about because I was attempting to steer, in the first case, I was attempting to steer the project in a new direction. A project that's been well underway for more than a year, and which I was hired to join. And I spent exactly 2 weeks today observing things, and I decided that I think we need to go a different direction. So I made a proposal to do that. And this time yesterday, I knew that at 10 o'clock I would make that proposal, but at this time yesterday I had no idea exactly what I was going to say or do. Well, I did get to work, and if I'd known that this was coming at yesterday, I would have had a more restless sleep, but the night before. But I just whipped out some documentation, documents and raw tools, and I just laid it all out. And what's more is that I had something that I picked up from my last job in Ventura. I picked up a lot there. It was a tough job, but one of the things I picked up there that I knew that I got in better habit of. It was a good job, but it was a tough job, but it was a good job. I learned a lot. Sometimes the toughest routes are the ones where you learn the most, obviously, right? But I learned a trick, which is to get before the meeting, get everybody to agree. Do you know what I mean? So it's like once the event happens, everybody's already looking in the same direction, or in tacit agreement at least. There's not a new trick. I mean, politicians have been doing this forever, and this is part of the art of negotiation. And like, I'm just slow on the uptake. So I had done that and had one person that I wanted to reach out to, and I did, and I got everybody except one person who wasn't around to basically agree to it, and it went well. Now what I need to do today is to work on a project plan to detail these options, because I still need to get our executive sponsors buy-in. So but for that case, that's the one that I need the signature. So I need to lay out all the pros, the cons, the risks, the assumptions, and then a recommendation. And funny thing is, probably I may not recommend the very thing I'm recommending. I may recommend another option, because I don't think this is necessarily the best way to do it, but it's the right way given our circumstance and our organization. So I got to think if I really want to which one I'm actually going to recommend, the way that I'm recommending, or the way that we should do it in a perfect world. Interesting. I have more thought for that. And then the second meeting in the later was a meeting about a new project, which I'm really excited about. I mean, it's like I got the details, and I'm like, wow. I mean, I really get to be a part of this. I get to be a part of this thing, and I don't give any details, but I mean, it's really rare that I've had, work assignments that I get to learn about it, and I'm like, wow. You mean I get to be a part of the project that gets to ride on roller coasters? It's not that, but you know what I mean. Whee! And then I also had a really good day. Another thing that I picked up in Ventura that I do now is keeping and I did this before the pandemic, but not to this extent. I detailed work logs, to the 15-minute mark, throughout the day, so that at the end of the day, I can present to my boss and say, here's here's what I did today, and it's bam, 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 and it really works well, man. Because I mean, I mean, I'm more on the ball now working remote than I had ever been before because I'm so mindful of my time. And that also has to do with the principles of the good and effective use of time, right? It's very important for me not to waste my employer's time, and I want them to get good value out of me because I want them to keep me around. So this is how yesterday was, if I could sum it up. As this is the Anchorhold, of course, the rock sticking out of the sea upon which I live. It changes. Sometimes the rock looks a little bit different, and you can see that I'm resting there upon the rock. It's not necessarily a comfortable place to sit, to lay in this case. The sea is utterly placid. There is no steep drop off. The rock is dry, and the sea is well receded. The tide is low, and the sun is just a smoldering orb above the horizon. Not too hot, not too cold. Very good for dozing, not sleeping, but kind of dozing with eyes half lidded, into a perfectly vacant blue sky. That was how I felt yesterday, and that's a good feeling. That's how I would want to feel sometimes during retirement. I hope to get that chance to do that. Not asleep, but not asleep, but at rest. Yet I was working my tail off yesterday. I got so much done yesterday. And today's going to be another day like that. I'm going to get a lot done. Now I know life's got in store to ambush me. And I'm ready for that too. Did I have any moments yesterday? Oh, there was one. We keep finding problems with the house. Like I said, hearing the air go out of something just now. And Yumiko comes to me to tell me about the problems, and I tell the rental agent who tells the landlord. It's just this long parade of stuff. And she found yet something else yesterday. So one more thing. You feel a little rise up. But I said, hey, just yeah, I mean, it was all facts. I said, this is the fact that one of the benefits of not owning a house is that I don't have to deal with that stuff. I don't get any equity or anything like that, but I don't have to deal with that. So I'll just give it to the landlord, and it's not like we broke it. We didn't do anything. It's just a fact. So yeah, I dealt with it okay. Let's do the good life. First is the 7 objectives to 1, be always in a good position and place and circumstance that if death comes now, I can, when the captain calls, I can go to the ship. 2 is to make good and effective use of time. Effective being that the difference between good and effective is that good means that it's a wholesome use of time, like not getting drunk. Sometimes it's a good time to get drunk, but you know what I mean. It's a good use of time to. This is where I'm. Objective number 3, which is the development and maintenance of good and sound mind principles. Every now and then I examine, I put them under the microscope. This is one of those moments. So what's the difference between good and effective use of time? Pardon me. The good use of time is it has a sense of being something that is furthering. Gosh, see, if I'm struggling like this to come up with a definition, that means I may not, there may be a problem. So let's go to effective. Effective means that it's producing good ends. So what the hell constitutes good? I guess good would be motivation, and effective would be delivery. Like yesterday was a very good and effective use of time. It was a good use of time because I deliberately set out in the morning to tackle some aims, and it was effective because I did indeed deliver on those aims. So I guess that's the distinction. What was that? I just heard it. Oh, it's Emily again. She's up again. She's doing something in her room, laughing. What's that girl doing up at 4 a.m.? What am I doing up at 4 a.m.? So anyway, okay, so I just covered three actually, because I did the third one, which is the development and maintenance of good and sound life principles, and I just talked about that. That's clear. Fourth is to cultivate good emotional reactions. Fifth is to perform good actions. Sixth is to recognize my limits and my opportunities, true limits and true opportunities. And then lastly is to just do one thing slowly. That one thing slowly is really manifesting itself lately in my meetings, because I've got my whole workstation sit there. It's really nicely set up. Get it all going. I always get in the meeting a couple of minutes early to make sure all the technology is square. And I just sit there. It's a good posture with my mic ready to go. The lighting is just so. And I wait to join. And more, I participate rather than perform in my meetings. As the leader of the meetings, usually I'm in a position where it's easy for me to take a performance role, right, of entertaining people and I do that. If there's a dull spot, I can keep things lively with a little humor or anecdote from the day. I'm getting better now at listening to giving other people a chance to say, having a nice pregnant pause between a question and then waiting for the answer. Giving people a chance to talk. And then listening to what they're saying. Giving thought to it. And responding not just with my own position, but with a considered response to what I have just heard. I think that is an example of one thing slowly. So those are my 7 objectives. Now for my 27 principles. 1 is war, to fight against everything that I believe. 2, reason, to be reasonable in my positions and my opinions, my perspectives and my utterances, and to use honesty and objectivity and doubt as my tools in the execution of that reasonable life. 3, the homunculus. This little guy, my consciousness that sits upon some rock in a desert sea. The Anchorhold, the rock where that homunculus resides and is trapped, and from which it will suffer and enjoy life, and then one day die, can never escape, one day sink into the sea, or the sea will rise to overwhelm me. Probably the latter. That's what it was, that sound. It was the water boiling, and Yumiko got me a coffee maker to put. She made a drink station right around the corner for me, so I don't have to go downstairs for my coffee. And it's got a nice little thing on it that I filled it up with water just before I started, and it was heating the water up. She even got me a refrigerator to put the milk in, and iced and tea and even beers for after work. So thank you, Yumiko. And then the last one is for those 3. It's really a trio of principles, which I said was the homunculus, the Anchorhold, and then the home of good and evil. Well, you can't see it there. The home of good and evil is the catalog of right and wrong that's maintained by the homunculus. These very principles and objectives. Next is purpose. And my purpose is to be a husband and father and family member and citizen, resident, community member, part of the species, a good instance of life, to be a virtuous man, to pursue the improvement of things, where improvement is defined as the well-being of others and myself. And then some mission. My mission, that's another last of the 3 purpose, is to do this, to think about life, to record what I learn that seems to work, and then to share it, to utter it into the void. And now next objective is, or next principle is the principle of the atomic principle. We're just a temporary, each of us is a temporary lattice of atoms and molecules that is, falling to pieces by the moment, and will very soon, each of us will be dead and wiped out forever. And just the stuff that we are will remain and will go on to be used elsewhere, or something else. But what we are is an emergent property of what this is. And once what this is gone, or even simply before that, even once the electricity that keeps us running shuts down, we're done. Forever, apparently. Next is principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature. It's the nature of water boilers to hiss and make sounds as they do their job. So I should expect that. That was a gimme. Next is maturity and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. I touched on that already when I gave the examples of the lessons that I learned from my last job, and how I've been able to utilize those now. That's an example of gaining wisdom and having the strength to push through it. And that's something I was telling Yumiko that yesterday. I was saying, if I hadn't gone to that job in Ventura, I wouldn't be as forthright as I am now. I'm just, it really pushed me into another level of not confidence necessarily, but there is more confidence now. It's kind of a level of get her done. It's just like, okay, instead of just looking for the company way, I'm just gonna think hard about what seems to be the right way, get input from others, look at things objectively, and then get on the path of wildness and go for it. But I do want to say that, and I do want to point out and talk about my gratitude to Michael over on the Discord, who shared with me a video a couple months back. This is again regarding work, a video about the imposter effect. How at work we sometimes feel like we're frauds, and it's just a matter of time someone's going to catch on. That was a real eye-opener video for me, and particularly how it defined what an expert was. And expert, none of us think of ourselves as experts necessarily, and especially if we don't have some credential or degree that states it, proclaims it from the wall of our office, because we don't remember ourselves being an expert. But an expert, if defined as Michael described it through the video, is someone with an understanding of methodology that can produce results, and the wherewithal to do that. Then you've got something that in fact is expert, insofar as they're able to do expert things. That was a real eye-opener to me, and I appreciate that he shared that. Gratitude to Michael. Now, on to my principles. I just talked about wisdom or maturity, and then now let's talk about. I skipped one, didn't I? Let's go back one. I skipped the pirate ride. That's just an idea that free will is an illusion. And then back over wisdom or maturity, and then on to the social principle. We're social animals. We need one another. Then public speaking, to use few words, carefully chosen words, deliberate words, words that people understand, and to not gossip about people. Gosh darn it, I did it yesterday. Or the day before. I actually I think it was the day before. It was the night before. I caught myself. I indulged. I did it. I talked about someone behind their back. Briefly, I said something that I would be embarrassed if they heard me say that. And I caught myself, but it was too late. Damn it. But I guess things are better, because it used to be a practically a daily affair. now it's now it's like a monthly affair, and not even that. I think I'm getting much better at this. Next is to congratulate myself. But that's the purpose of this, right? Is to try to improve and to note the instances of failure and even success. So then the public speaking, and then the Feast of Offal is when we get upset and blow it out into the world and spew our upset upon everyone around us. And then they go off and do the same. I don't want to do that. And then distraction, we distract ourselves from the fact that the universe apparently doesn't give a damn. And we do that through work and play and television and, hobbies. That's just fine. But I don't want to do that. I'd rather look at it, look at the emptiness, and think about it. Then comes that was the feast of, so that was two actually, distraction and then agency and the great indifference, which is the thing we don't want to see. Then comes the best seat in the house, not want to be anyone else, or be doing. Slow down, Kurt. Not want to be anyone else, be anywhere else, or be doing anything else, but to be okay with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing. I repeat that every day exactly the same way. I try to mix it up, but it's a simple idea, and it has a simple explanation. But it's hard to do. Then comes the Path of Wildness, which is when we are striving for a new life, getting out of the box. Then the risk of avoiding risk, the surface level and deep level risks of life, and trying to pursue both, trying to get all the essentials of life while also trying to discover and become the man or woman we want to be. Then comes, pardon me again, the sin and damnation, and the sins of credulity, hope, faith, superstition, dogma, authority, and gossip. I try not to do those things. Then complete oblivion, the kind of proposition that when we're dead, we're gone forever. I kind of talked about that already today. Then comes the great life adventure, one or more events that really help to form our character and make us the man or woman that we want to be, the thing, with a story to tell and something to show for our lives, maybe. Kind of sounds strange, but I think that's what it is. And then the season of philosophy is a time to put down whatever unique words are ours that come. Granted that it's very rare that anything is truly unique after, our species has been around so long, but at least you said it our way, right? Then the bullseye aim, striving and missing the mark, striving for and missing the mark, sometimes hitting it, but usually not. Then the uphill climb, trudging upwards through life. Then the arena and utility, life is this forum. And our objectives and principles are the tools we use to execute the living that we perform in this forum. And then the last one is nothing is enough. Sometimes very little is fine. So today, I have only one meeting today. It's a team meeting, so I'm going to have a pretty clear shot to do two main things. One, I'm going to work on the project proposal that I mentioned earlier. I've already got the skeleton all laid out. Most of the details are there. I have to just formally incorporate it into the document, the more formal document that I've already created. That's going to take the morning to do that. And then after that, I'm going to work on a training plan for how we're going to deliver this into the organization through formal training. Unfortunately, I've done that exact same thing, exactly the same thing for this organization before. So I know most of the pieces are in place. I simply have to formally plan it all out. I'm actually excited about that. It's actually gonna be fun. So that's what I'll do in the afternoon, and then my work week will be done. Tomorrow I'm gonna climb a mountain, I think, nearby. So that's it for my day. I wish you all the best. May your day be a good one, and remember to be safe, but